This presentation will provide you with an overview of the verbal reasoning measure. We'll start with reviewing the key elements of the verbal reasoning measure and then consider question types and strategies for answering questions. The verbal reasoning measure assesses several skills expected of university-level academic work. It assesses the ability to analyze and evaluate written material and synthesize information found in the material. It assesses the ability to analyze relationships among component parts of sentences and recognize relationships among words and concepts. The computer-delivered test has two 30-minute sections with 20 questions in each section. There are three question types: reading comprehension sets, text completion questions, and sentence equivalence questions. The questions cover a variety of different fields, including the natural sciences. For example, physical sciences and biological sciences, social sciences such as business, history, political science, sociology, psychology, economics, and anthropology, humanities such as literature, philosophy, art, sculpture, architecture, music, dance, and theatre. Detailed knowledge of any specific field is not required. As you may recall, the verbal reasoning measure is section-level adaptive, which means that you will receive less or more challenging questions in the second section based on your performance in the first section. Within each section, all questions contribute equally to the final score. Both sections are equally as important, since the final score on the measure is based on the total number of correct answers and the level of difficulty of the questions. There are three types of questions in the verbal reasoning section: reading comprehension sets, text completion questions, and sentence equivalence questions. We will look at these three in order now. Reading comprehension sets. Reading comprehension sets consist of a reading passage and one or more associated questions. They require you to read the passage and understand what is read. Understanding a passage entails awareness of the purpose and main idea, specific points made, assumptions made by the author, ability to make inferences based on the information presented, and being able to evaluate the purpose and structure of the passage. Each reading passage contains all of the information needed to answer the questions that follow it. There are three formats for the comprehension questions. The first is multiple choice, where only one answer is selected. There will be 5 answer choices, and you must choose the correct one. The second is multiple choice, where one or more answers can be selected. For example, there may be 3 answer choices, and you must choose all that apply. The third comprehension question format is the selecting passage format. You must choose the sentence in the passage that fits a given description. Let's look at these examples now. Here is the multiple choice type that requires one answer. As you can see, there is a passage on the left, and you must make the appropriate selection on the right. You must choose the answer that you think is the best fit from the information in the passage. The next example is multiple choice, where you may select one or more answers. You should read the passage and decide whether each one of the statements can be applied to the context. In this example, the passage displays 2 of the following qualities. The Select In passage asks you to highlight the sentence that best applies to the question. In this example, the 2 ways of integrating rock and classical music is best demonstrated in the last sentence. Reading the passage. Read and analyze the passage carefully before trying to answer any of the questions, and pay attention to clues that help you understand less explicit aspects of the passage. Here are some tips to help you. Try to distinguish main ideas from supporting ideas or evidence. Try to distinguish ideas that the author is strongly committed to from those he or she advances as hypothetical or speculative. Answer each question on the basis of the information provided in the passage, and do not rely on outside knowledge. Sometimes your own views or opinions may conflict with those presented in a passage. If this happens, take special care to work within the context provided by the passage. You should not expect to agree with everything you encounter in the reading passages. Answering the questions. When it comes to selecting answers to the questions, it is important to make sure you understand what the question is asking. Only answer based on the information in the passage. Do not rely on your knowledge or experience. Don't select an answer simply because it's a true statement. True statements may be correct but not be applicable in the context. Also, don't select an answer that is only partially correct. These are designed to test whether you fully understand the passage. When answering the main idea questions, you should select the overarching idea of the passage and not a secondary one. Main ideas are often presented in topic sentences at or near the start of passages. When identifying what the passage says explicitly, you should be able to pick out specific portions of the passage that directly support the relevant statement. Explicit means it has to be written in the passage. When identifying what the passage says implicitly, you are being asked to read between the lines, as opposed to identifying what has been literally stated. This does not mean that you should substitute your own interpretation, but that you should identify what idea the author is trying to convey. Text completion questions. Text completion questions consist of one or more sentences with 1 to 3 blanks. Answer choices consist of alternatives for filling in the blanks. Answer choices are independent of each other and they require test takers to understand the meaning of the sentences and select the most appropriate word or words to fill in the blanks. The most effective way to do this is to analyze the relationships among the sentence parts and select the most appropriate word or words. Let's look at an example. In this example, there are 3 blanks and 3 options to choose for each blank. Sentence 1 states, "It is refreshing to read a book about our planet by an author who does not allow facts to be blank by politics." The options are overshadowed, invalidated, or illuminated. The key part of the sentence is the relationship of facts to politics. It seems unusual for facts to be illuminated by politics, as politics is often seen to be messy and complicated and obscure the truth. It is more likely that the negative connotation of overshadowing or invalidation is a better fit. It is also rare for facts to be invalidated by politics, as facts are typically validated through research or experience, not by who is currently in power. The best option, therefore, is that the author does not allow politics to overshadow his research. The second choice is perhaps more simple. Enhance can immediately be ruled out for its positive connotations. To underscore something means to support it, and again, the relationship is not supposed to be a supportive one in this case. Obscure carries the necessary negative connotation and thus is the best option. The third option considers the scientific model of developing and testing hypotheses. Given the lack of understanding that is stated, it is possible to have theories that can easily be replaced by new ones. Thus, superficiality of our theories is the best option. Generally speaking, the following strategies will help with the text completion questions. Read the passage to get an overall sense of its meaning. Identify words or phrases that seem to be particularly significant. Try to fill in blanks with your own words and find answer choices that match. Complete the blanks that seem easiest first. After you've made all of your choices, read the passage again to make sure it seems accurate. When filling a blank, you should ask yourself whether the word should support another word in the passage or whether it should contrast with another word. You should also ask yourself whether the word should have a positive or negative character. Sentence equivalence questions. Sentence equivalence questions have a single sentence with 1 blank and 6 answer choices. You must choose the 2 answer choices that complete the sentence coherently and produce sentences that are the same in meaning. Here's an example. Cynics believe that people who blank compliments do so in order to be praised twice. The options are conjure up, covet, deflect, grasp, shrug off, or understand. Cynics are people who take a negative view of the situation, and so people looking to be praised twice would need to deflect or shrug off compliments in order for them to receive a second compliment. Because of the negative connotation of cynics, the other options are not possible. Thus, the correct answers are deflect and shrug off. For sentence equivalence questions, you should read the overall sentence and try to understand its meaning. Identify words or phrases that are particularly significant in the context. Try to fill in the blanks with your own words and find answer choices that match. Once you've made your choices, Reread the sentences with two words included again to make sure that they make sense and say the same thing. Be careful not to assume that if two words say the same thing, they are the correct answer. The options may have multiple choices that are the same, but only the ones with the correct meaning must be chosen. When filling a blank again, ask yourself whether the word should be similar or contrasted with the nearby word in the sentence, and whether the word should have a positive or negative connotation. You should get acquainted with the format of the verbal reasoning section for taking the test and try to answer every question. Make sure you understand the question and answer choices clearly before making your selections. You can use the information in the questions to help you answer appropriately. It's always good to keep an eye on time and not get caught up spending too much time reviewing different sections.